Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everybody around the world. Welcome back to another One Piece video featuring Yamato. Get ready for a very, very spicy deck list featuring OP08 here on the channel, let alone a deck list in which I am very excited to show you. Let alone this is very near and dear to my heart. I'm very much having fun with Yamato. One of my favorite decks, leaders to come out in One Piece. Very flexible, can be built in numerous different ways. I do hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. Thankfully, the metagame has shifted in a way in which Yamato used to be one of the, I guess I'd say the scariest decks to play against for a while, right? Back in the Sakazuki era, because Sakazuki had a poor matchup into this deck. Thankfully. But of course, there were other decks at the time like Katakuri that were doing really well into Yamato, and some other decks out there at the time that could, hold their own. And Yamato kind of lost a lot of favor. It did. It lost a lot of favor in some of the deck lists and decks that came out past that. And we haven't seen too much of Yamato since then. With OP08, Yamato has actually come back into the metagame, getting some new cards such as like the Namis here, which allows us to pop other units on board. Yamato has also won some pretty big events as of late. And a lot of us have been a Yamato fan. So there have been some out there who don't very much enjoy this deck, who don't believe in it. And that's fine. That's your 2 cents, that's your take, that's okay. Currently, Yamato is doing really, really well. And in OP09, we get a lot more new cards that's going to make this deck a lot scarier. So if you guys are unfamiliar, we'll go over real quick here. And I want you guys just to pay attention. We gain access to Nico Robin in 09, which allows us to just rip life off your opponent. It's similar to Tropical Torment, but this is a character that we can play on board for 6 Dawn, which also we can give 2 Dawn to it to swing in for 8k at any point. This also allows you to trash cards from your opponent's life, which, similar to Nami here with the Banish, that card goes to the trash. They don't gain it to their hand, they don't get to use it later. It just gets ripped, which is really, really scary against 5 life leaders. So Blue Doflamingo, Rob Lucci, all those decks that have 5 life that can give Yamato a little bit of trouble. Nico Robin got you in OP09. We also have access to, again, Tropical Torment. So if you wanted to splash in Torment and Robin, you have access to doing that, which could be quite scary in 09. So I guess we'll get to that point and we'll see what's going on. Because I do believe that in 09, we're going to see a lot of Blackbeard, which I'm very excited to play. So shout out to that. But outside of Blackbeard, Blackbeard allows you to do very well against decks that are control-y based. So things like Rob Lucci, Gecko Moria, you're not going to really struggle against the 8-drop Gecko Moria anymore because that's on play. And Marshall D. Teach does really good against decks that have on play abilities. So decks that are going to do really well into this leader are going to be aggro-based decks. So decks like Zoro, Yamato, Sanji. Any deck that's very, very aggressive when it comes to board and can go very, very fast is going to do really well in 09. So you are going to run into things like Shanks as well. Yamato will also be here in 09. So I'm hoping that with the new changes that we're going to get to some of the cards here, that this list can come back and do well in 09, at least on our side of the world. So we'll see what things cook up. But currently, in OP08, I've been running around with builds like this. Although you guys know I'm very partial into Wano, I very much love Wano variations of Yamato. I've done Skypiea, I've done everything under the sun. The Fishman variants of Yamato was one of my favorite, or first lists that I put up on the channel, with like the Hody, the Arlong, with the 2k counters into Hachi and Kami. I did a lot of different variants of Yamato, and I wanted to dive back into Arlong here and splash this into the list. Yes, I do have another list that I do want to try playing around with. There's another card that someone mentioned to me. What's his name? Don Krieg, right? Where are we at? Apparently I can't. Okay, give me a second. He's around here somewhere. There he is. I also wanted to make a list with Yamato at some point with Don Krieg because I hear this card is really, really strong. And it is really good into blue matchups like Doflamingo and any Warlord variant because you can just pop multiple cards on board that are rested. So, Doflamingo brings bodies in rested. This might be something that you can tech into your Yamato list to do well into that matchup as well, because Dofi himself is very difficult for Yamato to get around due to the fact that he goes wide very, very quickly. And this is why Yamato also fell off during the time where the meta shifted with Gecko Moria being a black deck taking prominence at certain points, during the season, due to the fact that this deck can go wide very, very fast. Blue Doflamingo and OP08 also goes wide very, very quickly. So cards like Don Krieg might help you out in that matchup. But another card that might be pretty useful here is Arlong. Arlong helps you stop leaders from attacking. If they've already attacked during the previous turn, you play down an Arlong, you can freeze them from attacking the next turn. Therefore, decks like Doflamingo, I don't know why I blanked there. So decks like Doflamingo can't get bodies on board because he can't use his leader skill because he can't attack, which that's very, very good, right? That's less bodies for you to have to deal with. Decks like Kagura also can't do, the life shenanigans by ripping cards from life, getting cards from hand on board for free. They can't do that either, which is really, really strong. But decks like Black Yellow Luffy here, they don't have to attack to activate their ability. So be mindful of that. This is another deck that's pretty problematic from Yamato if you don't see the removal pieces you need, such as your Hody Jones and your 9 Flash. Thankfully, I haven't run into a lot of these as of late, which is great. It seems a lot of people have moved off of it and started playing Doflamingo and Rob Lucci a little bit more, but each their own. Ideally, Arlong is pretty strong in today's current metagame, I think, which a lot of people are sleeping on. So again, Blue Doflamingo, Kagura, Sabo, which is another card that has to attach on and then attack to use their ability, which is really, really good. But overall, I've been having a lot of fun with Arlong here in Yamato, and I do hope you guys give it a shot. I do want to play around with the list with Don Krieg, because that was a shout out to me in the Discord. This is a very, very good leader still. I do hope you guys are going to enjoy this. We're going to play a bunch of games today and see where we can get to. Now, there are some cards in here in which I'm not too sure. I played around with S-Shark a lot in my Egghead variant of Yamato, and I might just leave S-Shark in that variation and not have it in this one. I will tell you, S-Shark is very, very good into matchups such as Jewelry Bonnie, in which you have to be mindful, because that is going to be your second hardest matchup in today's format, Jewelry Bonnie and Blue Doflamingo, because we cannot get around the Eustace Kid, 8 cost, and we cannot get around the Basil Hawkins. Unless you have S-Shark on board, this can get around the Basil Hawkins, but you still have to deal with the Eustace Kid. Everything else here, 9 Flash and Hody Jones will rest the Basil Hawkins, therefore it's no longer a problem, but you still have to deal with the Kid at some point. And hopefully, considering the amount of triggers we are playing in this list, you have multiple options of getting something off life and getting bodies on board. Jewelry Bonnie's matchups really go like this depending on how many bodies you have on board. Typically, the match can swing in your favor. But overall, I've been having a lot of fun with this list. I do hope you guys can give it a shot. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. Leave your thoughts and your opinions, and we'll get into it. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into a bunch of games today. Coming at you guys with Yamato playing into Rob Lucci. Get ready for a slew of matches. Hopefully, we get these done quick. I mean, we are playing an aggro list, so I don't know how many matches we are going to do today. But we're coming at this match similar to how we would play against the old Sakazuki. And for my trial and error with Yamato in that metagame, it typically went like this. Go face, ignore board, and call it a day. We need to find Onami in the early game, which we have. And thankfully to the brand new card we've gotten in OP08, 9 Slash is going to be a lot of fun, allowing us to boost up to 8k with 1 Dawn attached on turn 2, swinging for 9, which is pretty heavy. Unfortunate. Very unfortunate. I do enjoy S-Shark, but like I mentioned before in the deck list and stuff, I may end up cutting S-Shark for a more focused on a Vegapunk list, which I have done so in the past with Yamato. So I may be looking to bring that back up here on the channel here soon. But I also want to dive back into some Wano stuff with the Yamato, because that is what I'm partial to. But I do find S-Shark to be pretty good. It's definitely strong into those matchups like Jewelry Bonnie and Doflamingo, Blue Dofi, considering the amount of blockers. But a lot of the times you can kind of get over the blockers with Flame Split and 9 Flash. But you cannot rest the, what's it called, the Basil Hawkins, right? We can't rest that. We can't pop it with Namis at all, so Ash Shark helps you get around it without being able to be blocked. We'll go ahead and just remove this Brook. We definitely need to get it off the board. It's just another attacker that we have to deal with for a 5k, you know. We'll trash this, give us the boost, go another 9k to face. We know this should connect. Or sorry, yeah, this one should connect because he took the last one as well. So he either drew into the counter or didn't have enough for the banished one as well. He's got 9 Dawn. Potentially he could play the Gecko Moria if he has Gecko in hand. He has no Rebecca in trash. So hypothetically, I guess he can swing for 5, do the Lucci effect, get a Rebecca off the top, throw that in the trash, play Gecko Moria down to do Gecko Moria, and then the Spandam Lucci combo to pop the Nami and have a blocker on board. But that's like the perfect scenario, right? Because I think right now he's cooked if he does not get blockers down. So we need to see some Sabos here from him at the very least. And hope that I don't have Hody, right? But Sabo might be his best bet. Okay, so we are popping this. Hamepo Rebecca, so no Gecko Moria. Unless he had it and chose not to attack, which would have been kind of weird. Okay. Alright, so he had no Gecko Moria. Because otherwise this would be a little bit of a backwards play here. 5 lead. And then he mills. So he gets a Helmepo. I'll check that in a second. What could go wrong here? I guess I can give him the Nami, right? But we might need the Nami to rest the Rebecca, or the pop the Rebecca. We get an R-Long, which is pretty solid. We'll rest this. Now all we need to see here is Hody Jones. Okay, broke down as well. No Hody. I think we can still survive here. We have to remove the Rob Lucci though. So we can go 10k to get this guaranteed, save the 5 for the Nami, play the Nami down, trash the Sanji to pop the Rob Lucci, and call it a day. There's no point in me swinging 10k into Lucci when I can just get rid of it here for free. And we'll get a body on board. We'll do the thing, we'll toss that, kill this. There's the Hody Jones. Okay. We may have enough counter for this. Depending on what that trigger is in life. If it's a 2k or another R-Long, I think we're set. Or 0 cost event, of course, but yeah. So he can either go for game here or try to protect himself from next turn. I don't think trying to protect himself would be the smart play. I think he has to try to finish this. Because no matter what, I mean, you should automatically assume that Yamato has the, has the win here. Was that a finger gun? Alright. What you got here? Okay, Rebecca and Spandam. 5k. So he's just going to poke me down. So that means he's got 5 Dawn left to play with. So that's 3 Dawn on Spandine and then 2 Dawn on Helmepo. So that's 3 more attacks this turn. Alright, weird play. Alright, that's strange. That was weird. Yeah, because he just needed 2 Dawn to attach to that. And he cannot attack me now with Spandine. So I guess we have to use this trigger here. And we need to kill the Helmepo. If he didn't attach the Dawn to Lucci, he could have swung in with both Spandine and Helmepo here. So now he's got 4 left. Kuzan. I'm guessing his hand is pretty shot here. This gives me 2 attacks, right? In case he does have the counter for 1. And realistically, it's probably better to just drop the Hody to rest the Rebecca and go for face. I could do the Izo and stack everything on Yamato, but just in case, right? This way, they still have to give me 3k for Yamato. Nice. Well played.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into another game, coming at you guys with Yamato, playing into Jewelry Bonnie here in the second match. I don't know what this hand is. Sim shuffling at its finest. absolutely terrible. But I mean, it's not too bad. We do have the Namis here. We can get rid of the small blockers in the early game, get some free damage in, hopefully. Seeing an S Shark off the first trigger is not ideal, but we just go 9 here anyway. I've noticed that some of the key points in Yamato versus Jewelry Bonnie, this is going to be one of your hardest matchups in the format outside of Blue Doflamingo. The fact that she can just rest, you know, like either Hody or your leader if you only have 2 characters on board. You have to have as many characters as possible against this deck here. That way you have multiple attacks coming her way. And you can keep in mind that you can just give 2 Dawn, you know, to another character to swing for 7 or whatever, which is a solid number versus this deck here. You can get around every character they decide to drop on board other than Basil Hawkins and the Eustace Kid. Hopefully you guys see enough Vanish Namis or get enough damage in prior to the 8 Dawn turn that you have to worry about that, but most of the time it's not too bad if you get enough bodies on board. Like, we already know that they're going to rest one of the other ones and we can't really attack with S Shark, but it's just better to get the 6k in with Yamato. That way we can pressure the double attack. Yeah, they'll counter, but we get a 2k out of the hand early game. They're sitting at, what, 7 Dawn here? They do have the option for Basil Hawkins leaving up an extra Dawn if they want to, and swinging with the Jewelry Bonnie. And we can't get around it, we can't rest it unless we have Hody. So, but if they give us another body on board by attacking Life instead of S Shark here, it's really, really good. She might be contemplating on doing that. Because odds are, next turn we can go heavy with the 9 slashes and just start giving everything power boosts and going face. Okay. They are risking a lot here by doing this, especially this turn, this stage in the game. Unless they are looking for Basil Hawkins. So that would be a prime target. Nice, we'll take those. How do you whiff, though, in Bonnie? Unless you find, like, a bunch of Don Quixote pirates. A little interesting. I mean, we have to take the hit. And we get an Arlong. Unfortunately, Arlong can't really do anything here. I can't rest the Cavendish. I'd love to put him on board, but I can't use his trigger effect. The trigger effect only rests up to a 4 cost or lower character. The on play is what you really want to pay attention to in decks like Blue Doflamingo and what's the other one? The yellow deck, Kalgara. Yeah, Kalgara. That's the other one. All right. Well, we got a trigger that we can discard later on for the 5 cost Nami if need be, or 0 cost event if we draw into it. Arlong's not going to help us out too much here in this matchup. I'm not really worried about Bonnie swinging it for 5. I think we have to get rid of the Cavendish, like, on site, right? Otherwise, she has an opportunity of dropping Eustace Kid or something bigger the following turn after she has smacks me with Cavendish. Memory stands, you know, the Dawn. Let's do this here. Let's go ahead and give us our boosts. I probably should have smacked first with S Shark, but then she would just rest the leader, so I guess this is the correct way. If this connects, she's in a lot of trouble. Alright. There's no chance that she wouldn't just guard out if she had the counter there, because being on 1 life going into the following turn is kind of scary. And you know, I probably... No, that's right. That worked out, that's cool. We have 2 more to go anyway, 2 9 slashes, so we should be able to get through. Unless this is a 8 cost Kid turn. Then we have to deal with that, plus the counter in hand, and then hopefully survive. But we won't be able to survive the attack of the Kid, you know what I mean? So, as long as she doesn't have that, we should be chilling. There's 6, 8 Dawn left to play with. Is she not going to rest anything for Jewelry Bonnie here? Okay, going straight for lead. We'll get that, we'll take that. We'll discard this. That's another body to attack her with. So far, our triggers have been really, really nice. There was one game I played today that gave us 3 Ezos. Just off life, back to back to back. Alright, so here's Hawkins. A little late for this matchup. But she leaves 2 Dawn open. She didn't use the Jewelry Bonnie either. And I don't believe they run any form of events unless she has something like, what's it called, Punk Gibson, to rest like S-Shark or something. But then she wouldn't have the Dawn open to use her leader ability, so a little interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and try to get her down to 0 life here. This is probably just the best case scenario. We just go 10 and she can't block this with Hawkins. We have quite a bit of Dawn left to go at least 7 Ks to force her to do blocks or give me cards from hand. We have to kill her this turn though, because we're not going to survive next turn. Because that's assuming she doesn't have a Hody to play Hody down and just rest Sanji and go face, you know what I mean? She spent the 1 Dawn, okay. She rests the Nami, so I'm assuming she might have Hody in hand to be able to just rest Sanji. Or maybe she didn't think I would attack with Sanji here. I don't know, it's a little weird play, I guess. I think I would have rested the blocker, personally. Unless she has a way to, you know, go about it next turn. We'll go 7. She still needs to give me 3k. Okay. Maybe I should have went a little bit higher there, I guess. Because now we might be in trouble. Let's go 7 here as well. Actually, you know what? We do have the 9 slash and flame split. Flame split doesn't really do anything here. It just gives me 1000 power, so it's kind of irrelevant. We can just attach another Dawn. She gave us 8 though. So she has to guard out with Hawkins here. Unless she has 4 2k counters. Nice. Beautiful. All of these extra attacks. She did have the Hody.
You know how we normally do here. We're just going to rapid fire games at you guys as best as I can. I'm sorry, we are playing Yamato, so these matches don't last as they typically do, as long as they typically do. But hey, I get a lot of games out to you guys. I can show you that Yamato is still a thing. She's still out here, winning matches and big events. I think she only got scarier going into OP08 with some of the extra cards like the 5-cost Nami and some other stuff. But we'll see how she does in OP09. If someone decides to take her to the big events out here, which we have yet to see so far. So that does suck. She has won some smaller flagships and stuff in 09, but nothing like major, so we've got that for us. Because we gain access to, I believe it's the 6th drop with Nico Robin. That allows us to rip life from our opponent, which makes this deck very, very spooky to play against in 09. Especially aggro-based. Well, there's going to be a lot of black decks running around for removal with Rob Lucci still, and Blackbeard and Doflamingo still want to be here, so go and get rid of Hody for that. Just having a body on board in this matchup is just ideal. Thanks for the double tap, appreciate it. And that's the best thing in a Yamato match, especially when you're playing Yamato. I don't care if the leader is going to hit me for a double hit. It only matters if they have the Nami banish. Because the odds are you getting double triggers is pretty high. Considering they just got one here as well. You have 3 Dawn open. It's probably better for me to just go for it. Try to put him down to 1 or 0 life is probably the best case scenario here. I probably should have went 6k with that shark first. Math is hard sometimes. But we'll get the card out of hand regardless. Yep. So they go up to 6. This would be the play of the Nami banish if they have it. I mean, they could just go 9k. We do have the counter for that, which is nice. Right? Yeah. We have just enough counter for that. They decided to do the Nami banish play. You have to play something, to give Kikunojo the boost. Put a Yamato down. Interesting. Okay. I'll go 7 here. 5-cost Yamato is not the play in this match, I don't believe. Maybe that's all they had, but still. Remember, no banish, I don't mind. We just take it. This we have to guard out for. I need the Hody, I think, but I think we can actually get the game done without the Hody the following turn. Because we have 3 attacks, so. Yep, GG, buddy. Go ahead and activate the thing, give us the boost, we can go 9k to face.
The potential of this being a veggie could be high, but I doubt it. It is a yellow deck, so. Oh, they have the counter for this one. Right? Okay, alright. Or maybe they didn't. I'm gonna assume that was a misplay. I'm gonna assume it was a misplay. Alright, we'll find out anyway here. They have the counter for the smack at all. Nah, okay, their hand was dead. Alright, cool. I tried to get one more Yamato game from the last player, but they just decided to leave, so it is what it is. Hopefully we run into another one sometime today. But this was a deck I was looking forward to playing a Yamato into. I wanted to showcase the power with Arlong. It's either Kagara or Blue Doflamingo, Gecko Moria, Sabo. Those are just some of the leaders in which Arlong gets the most value out of. And some of those decks are, you know, still in the meta today. Gecko Moria, Kagara, Doflamingo, they all have to attach Don to swing. And I felt like coming back and seeing how strong Yamato can do into some of these decks, considering the new structure decks, Arlong really helps out against these decks. And it does fit into Yamato, of course, because it's a trigger, it's a 4-cost. It's doing a thing. It stops Dofi from getting bodies on board. It stops Kagura from getting bodies on board. It's a pretty solid card for green decks overall. Hopefully they don't get anything off this upper yard. They did. Okay. So they got a Kagura in hand. That's fine. So they have 4 cards that we don't know about. 3 Don open here. What do they play for 3? Okay, they just go 6. Cool. They leave up 2 Don, which potentially tells me they have events in hand, or they're playing down another Shura. I have to counter out here, but we don't get a trigger otherwise, you know what I mean? I need to get him down to at least 3 life to get our stuff rolling, in case we pop off an Nekomamushi off top of our life here or something. You know what I mean? Or Kikanojo. Let's get the Arlong down. Let's go ahead and start this. I know we probably should got the attack off first, but we can slow down this Kagura deck entirely by doing things like this. We'll get rid of the Sanji, can't attack, go 6k. We know they have at least 1k counter in hand, so they'll have to give us 2 or play an event here. Okay, or take the double hit. Interesting. That's crazy, actually. You let a 6k swing go through for double attack. That is wild. Alright, El Thor. That's interesting. I mean, I guess that did come off life, so lucky for them. They still can't do the whole, like, Kagura and what's the other guy's name? Nolan to heal up. So I think in this scenario they could have played the Nolan down and Kagura combo here, but Arlong prevented that. At least I would assume if they had it in hand. Let's go 5 here. Yep. Or they can play down another Kagura, because I believe they'd have the Kagura on board first before that can happen. So yeah, double Kagura could have been a turn. We'll clear this for 10. Maybe. Nice. Normally, I kind of like saving Hody for the end game, but we have to remove this guy if possible. You know, the moment we see him, otherwise they can just keep healing. Do you go 7 to lead here, or go 6? Saves the Dawn open. They have access to leader ability here. Okay, so there's a Wiper, hits the board. Wiper gets a search off. That card is really, really good. Alright, goes to the bottom. Hopefully they don't find it. So it just gives them a free counter in the hand, basically. Alright, they got no cards from that. Love to see it. Go 6, we'll give them the 2k counter. They cannot swing with Kagura. Get a Sanji. Unfortunate. We'll go ahead and do the Arlong thing. We'll discard the Sanji here. And then we could go ahead and freeze up the leader. Well, not frozen, but can't attack. Same ordeal, I guess. I think we kind of need to go heavy. I want to get them down to 0 life if possible here. 5 cards open in hand, they have 1 Don open. Let's go 9, just in case. Well, let's just go huge. We can give the 2 extra Dawn to Hody and swing that for 10 afterwards. So. Come on, let it connect. In case they have an L Thor to go up to 9 and whatever else they have in hand, they still need quite a bit of counter. So they would need a 2k, a 1k, and an L Thor to get out of this. Awesome. Now they potentially can guard out on the Hody Jones here, because he's only a 10k, so that's an L Thor and a 2k counter. What happened? What did they do? Okay, so they healed up a turn, and then we got him an extra life from the Amaru. That's fair. Go 10 here. Math? I don't... So I understand the Amaru play, right? I get the Amaru play. They healed up, and we still did the extra damage with the Yamato. I get that. But that was a 10k, you gave me 1 2k counter. That was interesting. Okay. Let's assume they countered out, right? Let's assume they countered out of the 10k and they didn't misclick there. I'm assuming it was a misclick. And they're at 2 life, right? So they get a heal off on Nolan here, and let's say they block the last one. Could we still potentially win this game? This goes 7. We have to take the hit because we don't have the counter for it. We get a Nami. Nami, I could potentially save the Nami in hand to give it to Yamato to get the banish effect off, get the double attack in so they don't take the double life, right? And then Hody goes for game. Kagura gets a swing off here as well with 8k, you know. They're going for face again. Yeah, I don't think it mattered, okay. So even if they were able to counter that out and they had 2 life here, we get the Nami off with the double attack banish. They have 3 cards in hand. I think we'd be chilling. And just in case, we gotta play it smart. In case this is gonna be like, what do you call it, like a veggie or something. We go 10k here. Should be guaranteed. Yep, upper yard. It's a pretty good game overall. I think Arlong really helped out here. We got the effect off 2 times, so that really stopped him from healing and drawing cards and all that shenanigans, so. Good game, buddy. Oof, man, this poor Marco. I'm gonna try my best. I feel like most of the Marco games never last longer than turn 6 or turn 5 at the latest. Like, as soon as I'm ready to drop the Hody, it's on the board and we're swinging, but, you know, we'll see. Every Marco deck's a little bit different, and I don't normally see this card in Marco decks at all, so we'll go from there. Let's go AK lead. Nice. Sometimes, though, some Marcos like to guard out the first hit, which really does hurt me a little bit if I don't have the Onami Banish coming for the following turn. But we'll see. So I need to get them down to 2 as soon as possible. That way I have Flame Split ready to go. They don't have any blockers in the deck that I have to contend with outside of Marco and the 5-cost Ace. So our 9/slash and our Flame Split kind of do the job for us there. Man's already at 0 life, turn 3. He has a book over there, but we might be okay. I can rest the Marco again with another Izo this turn and just stack the rest of the Dawn on Yamato and go lead. I'd imagine they have the counter for it, though. We'll see. Go 6. Does the leader ability. I'd assume. Yep. That skill is so good. It's just such a good leader ability. Man, that's nice. Imagine that having like a scry every single turn. It's pretty good. Well, or rest the Marco. We don't have to play Izo down. Because otherwise we just play Izo. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm sorry, man. You know, that was a bit unfortunate. I mean, at least we find another Marco player here, but still, that was a little unfortunate. The cards they just went in the right order we needed, essentially. As soon as you do that first attack, all of your cards are online. Your offensive and your offensive cards, you're just good to go. But we'll see. Maybe this game will be different. that first attack going through with Yamato against against Marco is just, it's detrimental. It really is. Okay, so that went on the bottom. They got to draw 3 cards there as well. Go 6 would take the hit. We get 20 Yaso, so we have the option of doing 9k swings with the banish attack, so we're going to do that here this time. We can save Tony. No, actually, we might as well just play Tony now. It doesn't really matter. It gives us a 1k. It's the same concept here. Go up to 9. The banish off. We should get 5k counter out of hand here. Otherwise, Marco is cooked. Cool. So that was 2 2ks and a Marco. 6 Dawn open. I think you need to play down a blocker here, at the very least. Like just go 7, drop a 4k, 4 cost Marco on board and call it a day. I guess Nami could still swing in for 5, but still. Okay. That's a thing. Can we get lucky? We can. Let's get a body on board, get rid of the Arlong. Arlong in this matchup obviously doesn't really help us out too much because Marco can do his ability regardless. Get the Hody down. We can rest the Marco on board. Rip the life. Let's go 5 lead. This will force a 1k counter. We're just going to go face here too, by the way, with everything on board. Alright, we got a 2k out of that. That tells us a lot. Is the play to attack with Sanji? Yeah, why not? Because if not, he can just potentially pop it next turn with his leader ability, right? Make it -2 and then play a Wave Crash, or sorry, a Seaquake, another Marco or something. This will just force 3k counter. Yep. Because he gave us a 2k earlier, so that tells me he didn't have the numbers he needed. Six left in hand. We have the removal for any blocker he puts on board with the Nami in hand. As we go up to 9 Dawn, so we can drop a Nami, discarding something else to pop a blocker. And then we have the 9 Slash, the rest of Sanji, to rest another blocker if he decides to go double up here this turn. And then Yamato can swing in for 8, and Hody can go in for 10. It's a good time. Alright, so he does the Marco thing, draws a card, sure. He left that on, sent to the top of the deck, okay. Buffs Sanji. It's weird that it says buff instead of debuff, but you know, that's fine. There's a Seaquake, fair. It was 7 lead. Then he could go potentially 11k with Marco here. We can take this hit, but then we lose the game, so. What does he play here? Okay, blocker, and then a 7k swing. We'll take it. We get the Izo. He's got 4. You can just play this down, rest of that. Thank you, Izo. Appreciate you. We don't have to do that. We can play this down first. Give us the 8k boost. 4 cards in hand. We can just stack it up. Nice. And then we go 11k with Hody as well. Sure. And good game. Well played. Another matchup with Bonnie. Not so bad, not so bad. Just because this is one of the one of the best decks to play against, or sorry, to play as into Yamato. So this is one of the tougher matchups for us. Might as well get as many Bonnie games in as we can. On paper, though, I think Bonnie really has this matchup like 9 out of 10. Maybe 9 out of 10. I think it really depends on Yamato's triggers and what lines up for Yamato in order to win this match. Because I feel like we need mini bodies on board to even consider going for game in most cases. Because if the cards align for Bonnie and she's able to get down blocker after blocker after blocker, it's a real pain in the butt. And if you don't play against the Eustace Kid, you're pretty much in a good position, but you still need to have multiple bodies on board for you to actually get to that point. And I still think the correct play here is just to go face. So we're going to drop the Yamato, go up to 9k and go for it. I need to get the first attack off, regardless. Because going 8k sometimes doesn't always cut it, especially with a deck that's so defensive in Jewelry Bonnie, you know? So we get the first hit in. So all of our triggers and stuff will come online. You know, the Kikinojo's, Nekomamushi, which I still haven't seen him at all yet. So I feel super unlucky when it comes to that. Double blockers here. Yo's 5. Please. I mean, we got one. I'll take that. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Because this turn we can play down another body on board. Which could be the Izo, actually. That way we can rest a blocker. And then Bonnie will rest the Kikinojo. And we can go, what was that, 7k lead? Or we can go 8k lead with putting the 2 cost event on Yamato here. And then that just gets rid of the blocker that's on board. And set up cards from their hand, though. So that does kind of suck. But, yeah, that's probably the best case scenario. Let's do that instead. Because she is just going to rest Kikinojo regardless. Yeah, let's try it out. We'll rest Rosie. And call it a day. Actually, because regardless of how we do this, they're just going to block, right? Yeah, they're just probably just going to block. Let's go 10k with Kikinojo here. They're going to block this anyway, so. Then leader will get rested. Because imagine if we decided to go 7k with Yamato and they didn't block and they took the double damage. And they just got more cards in hand, you know? Either way, it doesn't really matter because they have the option to block it, so it's fine. 6 Dawn. What do you do? Do you have the Hawkins? Because that'd be 5 to leave up the Dawn, and then she'd be in a really, really good spot. So I can't get rid of the Hawkins. I can't rest it unless I draw Hody Jones. Or we were playing with Punk Gibson, you know? So there's the Hawkins. They get no Dawn for leader ability. They go 5. Should I give you the S-Shark, or should we just take the hit? We got lucky the first trigger. I kind of need one more. Like, honestly, we need one more. That's not good enough. He's a 4 cost. Let's rest this, though. I don't really think that matters too much, because his ability can still go off, but I can potentially run Izo into it, and they can either give me 3k counter or let it go. Because thankfully they can't block rest anything with Bonnie's ability because they have no Dawn up. This should be free. Unless they decide to block. If they decide to block, we just kill the Basil Hawkins by running things into it. Nice. If only we had a Banish Nami here, because that'd be ideal. We could force the Banish attack and they just give us the Basil Hawkins for it. That'd be great. Go 9k here. It might be a little bit weird for you, but this way if they block out with Hawkins, they need to give me 3k counter to make them survive. Do they guard or they take this one? Going down the 2 life wouldn't be so bad, I don't think. So there's a 0 cost event, goes up to 8. Yep. Baby 5. 4 cards left in hand. Let's give us the boost. This tells me they didn't have enough counter in hand. They had to do it that way. So I'm hoping we can get this connect. Alright, that works. We'll take those. This potentially could be a Eustace Kid into a Rosinante with no Dawn standing up. So, well, actually they can't do that. Because they don't have the Dawn to attach to the Kid here. But I think this is probably our best case scenario.
Because sometimes the Yamato games go like really, really good for you, and you're able to put Bonnie in a position where if they play the kid, they lose the game because they don't have the Don to do anything with for the leader ability or to attach to the kid. Considering how aggro and how aggressive our deck is, depending on the triggers that we get on board. Because we need to have the bodies on board to have multiple swings into the Bonnie. There are some Yamato lists, like some Wanu variations, for instance, that don't run a lot of bodies on board. They'll run like the Momos and like the Otamas, which are the small things, which aren't really going to get over Jewelry Bonnie at all. They're not swinging in for 5s. They're not a threat. So this at least goes 6. I'd imagine she clears Izo here, because she needs to get bodies off board here instead of going for face. Oh yeah, no, that's not happening. I'm sorry. I kind of need her on board. We got to do the thing, and it's probably better for us to give the Nami here instead of the 2K counter, realistically. Another Kikanojo. Healing would have been nice too, yes, but I need the pressure on board here more than anything else. Double Kikanojo, so we do have one for the 0 cost event, and I can actually slap another one down on board, which is nice. We need to have 2 Dawn for S Shark. Or not really, she has no blockers down. I imagine their hand is not the greatest right now, right? With all the counter they gave me in the early game here. The double attack might just be inclined to go off here. This would be 9. We have 1 Dawn to give Kikanojo, give 2 Dawn to S Shark. No, we have to give 2 Dawn to Izo, because Izo has to be able to swing for 5 as well. 3. Let's just go 7 here. No. No, I don't want to do that either. Because this has to connect, right? This has to land. Let's go 9. And you could argue that I should have probably swung with a 5k Izo first. Yeah, probably should have done that, you know. I probably really should have done that. But it's okay. Because they were going to rest the Kikanojo regardless there. Considering that is the 6k body versus the 5 or a 3. And then S Shark will swing in for 6. Yeah, I probably should have smacked with Izo first for 5, realistically. But then she might have just rested Yamato from getting the double attack off, so maybe this will work out in our favor too. Where's the baby 5? Let's go 6 here. That's 2 baby 5s in the trash. There's Basil Hawkins as well. We haven't seen Kid or Hody just yet, or they haven't discarded them from hand either with 0 cost events, so perhaps they're holding on to some of their bigger characters in hand right now. We got the Rosinante on board, you know, the 8 cost here, but they have to try to go for game this turn. If not, they're cooked, of course. We're at 2 life. And we don't have very much counter in hand either. I just need to keep... I think S Shark has to stay alive no matter what. If she wants to kill everything else, maybe, but S Shark has to stay alive due to the fact that he goes through blockers. Unless she has to use this kid here. So I don't have a way to get around that. S Shark cannot go around the kid either. Alright, 10k lead. I mean, what if they have Hody though? I can't guard out 10k anyway, but the Izo does help out quite a bit here, which is nice. The one time I'm not tired of seeing his face, so that's good. Because that's 8 Dawn. So potentially they could drop a Hody Jones, attach 1 Dawn to Cavendish, swinging for 7, restand 2 Dawn, have a Dawn to attach to Bello Betty, or sorry, Bello Betty, sorry, Jewelry Bonnie, and swinging for 6, 1 Dawn open to rest whatever. Are we lucky enough not to have to deal with that?
Oh, okay. Alright. They're going for it. They better not have the winning hand, too. Because that would have sucked. And just play this incorrect. Because that goes 10k. We have the counter for that. Don't we? Yeah, we have the counter for that. So we're chilling. And I think we had the counter even without the Izo. So, because we just got rid of the Satori and then Tony Yasuo. I think we were chilling. This is where you surrender, right? Thank you. They had the kid, man. They could have played the kid down and went a little bit defensive there, but they didn't have the counter in hand to protect themselves from multiple swings. So I think we were still chilling. We were fine. That was a really good game. Super close, actually. If they dropped the kid down, they could at least defend from one swing, and then they couldn't swing out or guard out from the rest of them. It's pretty solid overall. Good game, buddy. Well played. I'll probably do maybe 2 more games after this. Maybe. Depending on how long these matches go for. Which I think this makes our 7th or 8th game, maybe. I don't know, I lost count. I'm probably wrong. We'll probably play a lot more than that. But Yamato into Yamato. It looks like another Wanu variation. Which again, I'm partial for, but I feel like the aggressive Yamato has the upper hand in this match. We'll see though. I didn't draw any banished Namis this time. And I don't think we drew any banished Namis in the Bonnie match prior to this either, if I remember. So, super unlucky. They do get a 5-cost Yamato though, so that could be a problem. But let's go 8k lead. I don't really care about the Momo, of course. Yeah, Wano variation. So 2 2Ks from hand, which is nice. So they've got 4 cards we don't know about and the 5-cost Yamato in hand right now. Goes 5. How much you want to bet to play Kikunojo down? Like 10 out of 10 right now. Or Nekomamushi. Huh? I feel like every time I see this happen, you gotta get that big swing off of Yamato before you start playing cards on board, no matter what. We can actually toss the Arlong here. This will slow down Yamato as well. They gave us 4k counter already. Cool. And no triggers? Please? Alright, they got a trigger. But what is it? Because they're taking too long. They must be contemplating on using it. What is it, though? Arlong doing work again, man. Okay, so they got a Nami. Discard Denjiro to pop me. So they are a pure Wano build outside of some of their triggers here, which is probably both Nami variants, if I had to guess. Maybe they have Ryuma in this deck as well. Yeah, you can attach Dawn to that. We're 4. Oof. Big Mom. Interesting, actually. I think we'd rather trash cards in hand. Because we trash life, that means less triggers for us, so. And then they just go 6 lead. Yep. No trigger. That sucks. Do get the Hody, though. We're at 7. They probably have the counter in hand. At least 1k for Yamato if we decide to drop the Hody on board. That might be a huge risk if we decide to do that. This will make us go up to 8k. Oof, man. Do we dare risk it, though? Putting them to 0 right now? Let's just go huge. We'll go 10k. No triggers? Nice. We'll play down Tony Yasuo here. We'll call it a day. I wanted to save him first, just in case they had an Onami banish or something. This way he's on board now, and we can get down to Hody Jones next turn without having to waste the Dawn. I think we'd be chilling. Because now we'll get extra 5k power. Because next turn we go up to 9, right? You know what I mean? We drop the Hody, we play the Yasuo on board, that's only extra 3k. This way we can play around with the extra Dawn. Yeah, it's 9 Dawn, yeah. We're chilling. As long as they don't have a Hody of themselves, we might be able to win this match. These matchups are so scary sometimes. 6 in hands. Momo effect has not gone off in a while, which is interesting. There's not really a time for Yamato to use the effect, especially when you're behind, which is a little scary. Ooh. But popping the Kikinojo, though, is not the thing, because they'll heal up. But it's one body that we don't have to contend with, so I guess we'll take it. Won't use that, though. Heal a life. They go 5 Dawn open. They can't Momonosuke, the bounce Momonosuke on life. So, there's no way they can heal now. They have the Hiyori. Even if they Hiyori here into the Momo, they can't heal anything either. This goes 8k, or 9k, sorry. We'll take that hit as well. We get the Nami Banish. That is so good here. Yeah, let's go and pop this. I know it's potential that's a 0-cost event, but what if that's another body on board for them for the following turn? And they get to draw an extra card too, so... So they get the Hiyori. Wait, what? What just happened? I must have missed something. They got a 2k counter somehow. I'll have to watch that back later. That was weird. Alright, we'll go 11. We have enough for Hody to come down on board. And call it a day for 10k. Hopefully they don't have enough counter for it. Nice. Can we get there, boys? Good game. Let's go. Good job.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we'll probably play one more game after this one, and then we'll call it a day and dive back into the deck list here. And we'll talk about some future changes to this list, let alone another iteration of Yamato coming to the channel soon. But without further ado, we're going to dive into Yamato playing against Edward Newgate, a deck that we don't really see all too much, so I would assume not a lot of people have practice against Newgate. He did get a bunch of new stuff in the structure decks, but it still isn't a deck that you're going to see a lot at your local scene. At least from my experience, in any case. Got a Kingdu on board, which is kind of irrelevant here in our matchup. Arlong might be pretty good here, because he's not going to attack with Kingdu. Discard this and just freeze this card from attacking. He'll just lose a life this turn. If we can't get past the Kingdu, it is what it is. We should be able to, though, because we have our 9 slash. What the discard? Looks like we are playing against an aggressive Newgate list, so interesting. We could drop the Izo here, but let's get the Banish down first. Let's go ahead and play this down, give us the boost. Rest that to rest the blocker. And we go huge here. Do you have enough? 9. Okay. Well, that hand though. So they have Radical Beam, and if we do 2 damage here, we rip both of those cards from their life. They don't go to hand. They have no counter or no counterable cards in hand depending on what they draw. They draw into another 5-cost Luffy there. So they won't have enough counter to survive one more attack. Because we have the Amaru and the Izo in hand to rest the blocker again if need be. We just go for game that way. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh well, rip. You know, I feel like some people are going to complain against the Marco game and the Newgate game. It'll be one of those scenarios where, why did you include this match? You know, it was over in 2 minutes. What's the point? It's the fact that Yamato's games can go so quickly when all the pieces fall into your favor, which happens more often than you realize when you are playing against or playing with an aggro deck list. It's very similar to Zoro. It only takes a couple pieces to get the engine rolling, and once it starts rolling, you might not be able to stop it. Just in those scenarios, getting those banish swings or having the 9 slashes or blaze slices or Izos or rest blockers and going for face is kind of rough for a lot of decks to deal with. But
we'll dive into another game here. We'll probably play this one here, and then we'll dive back into the deck list, and we'll see what goes on here. We are playing into Katakuri, in which yellow versus yellow, so it's going to depend on if they get triggers off my double attacks. The downside to it is, with Katakuri into Yamato, if we are playing a Wano variation, that's with like the Hiyori and stuff, we cannot stack our life no matter what. So if we decide to play a 2-cost Hiyori down and put a card from hand on top of life, Katakuri can just attack us and, you know, swap things around. Thankfully, we're playing an aggressive build, so... And there's a Kikinojo here, which is interesting, because we're going to get rid of this as soon as possible by playing Nami, discarding probably Hody Jones this turn, and this goes 6k to face. They did take our first 8k. We're just going to go heavy here. Let's just go for it. Get them down to 0 as quickly as possible. Yes, we probably should have removed the Kikinojo by dropping the Nami, discarding the Satori or Kikinojo in hand. They wouldn't heal a life, and we get a body off board. But this way, we can just be as aggressive as possible. Because now it comes down to whether or not they give us any triggers. And if we get triggers on board, we can just go for game rather quickly. They've already shown us that they probably run 4 Pawseplayers and then 4 Kikinojos. And then they have the 7-cost Mom and the 10-cost Mom. That's already a lot of cards in the deck that don't have any counter power. Which, who's to say that they don't have multiple Pawseplayers or another Kikinojo in hand or Moms are ready to go? Which is not a lot of counter. So I'm hoping we can drop Hody Jones next turn and just do some damage. Because they are at 6 Dawn. If they decide to drop a blocker on board, we can rest that with Hody and just go face. Force them to give me cards out of hand here. Alright. So they're going to go 8k. I imagine they look at my life. No, they looked at their life. Okay. Fair. What do we get? We get a trigger. Cool. Let's go ahead and pop the Pawseplayers. I don't want to heal them here. But they also get a search off here, which is fine. Regardless on who we chose, they either heal life or, you know what I mean? They got no cards from that, which is good. 4 Dawn open. Oh, you're just going for it. 1 Dawn up for probably another pudding. 9k, sure. That's a Blaze Slice. So maybe they either play with Elthor or Blaze Slice in their list as well. Guess we'll find out. We could Arlong him though. 3, 4, 5, 6. Because they go to 8 Dawn next turn. We could potentially drop Arlong, but let's just get rid of the 0 or the last life here. Ooh, okay. It's about to be their whole hand. 10. Hey, we'll take those, boys. We will take those. Because now they cannot drop Big Mom unless it's a 7 cost. And if that's a 7 cost, we just rip the life anyway. We won't let them heal up. That way we can just go for game the following turn. Or they get off 3 attacks here. Just something they could consider. Because we don't have a lot of counter in hand. Maybe that's the best play, just to go 3 attacks. Alright, so there's the Big Mom. We'll trash the top life. So there's an Izo. So they go 7 with Katakuri and then 6 with Kikinojo here. And I imagine that's not a 0 cost event in life. Otherwise they would have just taken the hit and then healed up and kept the 12k counter in hand. Hey, there he is, Nekomamushi. Crazy. When it matters most, he comes up and helps out. That's wild. 2K. Hey, that would have been wild, though, if they just attacked with 5 with Katakuri and then gave the Dawn to Kikinojo there. Because then I would have had to make a choice by keeping the Nekomamushi. Yeah, that could have been crazy. Wow. Now we think about it. Alright. Rest. 2 cards in hand. I think this is game. Watch it be a veggie. Or 0 cost. Uh-huh. Alright. Weird. I'm gonna assume that was a misclick. Okay, so Flame Split was their last card. And this means they didn't have enough counter for the 7, right? Either way, it was a good game. Yeah, they didn't.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the last game of the day. They actually wanted to do a rematch, which I'm totally fine with, because I was going to rematch them anyhow. But, overall, I think going into Katakuri as Yamatos is probably my favorite deck to play against, due to the fact that the triggers can just be so random. Considering we are both playing, yellow, right? It's just like, you never really know what's going to happen. And then I also feel like whoever gets the best triggers typically wins this match or carries it over. Because if he's using Cracker, for example, he has an option of taking the first hit, going down to 3, getting a Cracker off the trigger, and then donning up and going heavy. Which, again, in our favor, if we get double triggers off that, it's way too much fun. We'll counter out here. We did get quite a bit of cards out of hand in the early game, and he does play Cracker. Cool. That's our second Hody, which does suck to see. He countered out early, which means he doesn't have a lot of counter left in hand, so we don't really have to go heavy here. We can save the Toniyasu for later. Please no. Don't get anything. Contemplating. So we got a Perilous Sparrow and a Cracker now on board. That does suck. We'll drop this down and pass it up. This is not looking too good. He's less life than us, so Cracker is online now. And yeah, I didn't have to attack, because me attacking enables the Cracker. But at the end of the day, we still gotta get the damage in. If I stall out a turn and they're able to keep pace with me, or get cards in hand to guard out, to prolong themselves into the Big Mom, that's when we're not going to win the game. So 10k, no problem. We get a Sanji, get rid of a Hody Jones, and a Kikinojo down. Double triggers. Give me 2 more, please. Well, we can actually counter one of these attacks. So Perilous Sparrow will probably get through, depending on what we get off this life. Okay. You left that on top. Alright, 7. Sure. Hey, let's go, boys. I think we have to remove the Perilous Sparrow here. I think we have to. We'll get rid of the 2k counter. We'll pop this. He'll get the search off in hopes he does not find the Big Moms, because we are at 1 life. We draw off the Nami, because we have 3 cards in hand. They also got no draw cards. We're looking pretty good. That's the second time, by the way. And we get another Nami also. Cool. They left up that 1 Dawn. Last game they had the Blaze Slice, so we know that much at the very least. We can play down Hody, we can rest the Dawn here and the Pudding. Rip the life. This might have been a mistake, but we're going to try our best. Let's go 8k lead. Because we have the cards on board that go for game here, depending on what he gets off life. Okay. Come on, no veggies. Alright, you got Onami. We still have the potential to win game here. Never mind. Well, good game, buddy. It was fun. Losing to a veggie sometimes. Yellow, doing yellow things, it'd be like that. Well, I guess we'll just kill the Cracker. Because it doesn't matter if we go for life here or not. It was cool, though. It was cool. It was bound to happen with the veggie in life, so not really much else you can do about it. I think we played it well.
And if we really wanted to, that could have been our game-winning turn there if he did not get the veggie off life. And no, he didn't know that one was there. So. Well, I guess he did know that one was there, right? I think he did. Was that the last one he left on top? I don't remember. It might have been. At least the bottom one he doesn't know. So. That could still be a zero-cost event for all we know. Alright, come on, man. Stop contemplating. You can do this. You got 9 Don over there, stacking on Katakuri and go face. What am I going to do about it? That's 15k coming my way. I only have 5 cards, so it's not possible. Because as most as I can get up to with counter is 14k, with a zero cost event in hand if I had one, and then the rest 2k counters. Let's be realistic here. 7. It's 9, 10. This Katakuri goes 10k. This goes 7. Or 6, sorry. Now it's 7. Are you good? Bro. Okay. I mean, you got it. So they didn't have any blade slices. Yeah, if they didn't get that veggie, that was over. Oh, they had another veggie in life too. Wow, so never mind. But it was fun. Let's get back into the deck list, boys and girls. I can't, man. I gotta go make food. It was fun though. I hope you enjoyed yourself and everything. I can get this deck list done. Go make some food. Enjoy your time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the end of the video in which we talk about the deck list and all that sort of jazz. I do hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was a lot of fun for me to do. We actually got a lot of work out of Arlong today. This really was MVP in our matchup earlier against Kalgara. He really stopped this deck from doing his leader abilities and getting cards out of hand on board for free. This was really good into that match. I did not see any Blue Doflamingos played today, so I'm sorry that we didn't get a matchup with Blue Dofi, but I assure you it's a very tough matchup for Yamato into that leader. Just for the sheer fact and the amount of bodies he can get on board, it's really hard for Yamato to combat and defend herself from the attacks. But other than that, there are occasions where you can go very, very quickly with Yamato into Blue Dofi if you have the chain up with the Onami into the Yasuo, or the Onami down to like the 9 flash to go the 9k swings with the banish. There's a lot of plays that can be made. But overall, I think the MVP of today's video was probably the Arlong and the S-Shark. The amount of times that I feel like this guy doesn't really benefit me all too much, especially off that first and or second life. Sometimes, you know, you can't really play him on board, right? Especially with that first swing, you're not playing this down on board off life. But when you have 2 life and you go into that 2 life area and this triggers, this can be very, very good for you depending on your matchup. Because this gets around all the blockers you don't have to worry about. You don't have to spend an Ezo down to rest a 4 cost. You don't have to drop this to rest something else to rest a character on your opponent's side of the board. This just goes through blockers and does help you out in those situations. Often not, I don't find myself needing this or wanting this at 4 copies or what have you, unless my meta has shifted into like heavy jewelry bonnies. You know what I mean? Because this is the deck that runs the most blockers in our current meta right now, you know? Other than that, I want to leave him in my egghead variants of Yamato. I feel like it's a lot better there. And speaking of which, we'll just pull it up real quick. I'm sure it's here somewhere. But overall, I've had a lot of fun with this list. I do hope you guys want to try it out. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I do think S-Shark will fit a little bit better here in an egghead variant, where you can utilize Please Save Me and some of the other egghead cards like the Namis and the Luffy's here as well. You can stack them in life with like the boat and with the Hioris and all that sort of thing. This would be my list currently that I am running S-Shark, and I'm having a little bit more success with this card, but he does work in other decks as well. Now, to touch back on our list here currently, of course, you could take him out and run more Wanu cards if you choose to, because some of the things in which I'm not running here, and which you do see in a lot of other lists, are going to be like the Hiyori and, what's his name? This guy, Inuyarashi. So you could take out the Shark for these as well if you choose to. At least This guy will work when you're at 3 life. Meanwhile, this only works when you're at 2. So just something to pay attention to. The Hiyori, of course, another 2k counter if you guys feel like you need it. But overall, this has been my list, and I do hope you guys can give it a shot. And speaking of before we go, do not sleep on Toniyasu. This is another 9 flash for you that gives you 3000 power without resting a character. So again, you have 4 of these, 3 Toniyasus. You have multiple ways of getting up to 8 to 9k swings for cheap. But this has been Pawseplays. Remember to smash that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe for future content when it comes to all things One Piece here on the channel. And I will catch you guys in the very next video. Stay safe out there. I'll see y'all later.